Hello and welcome to this wonderful evening. Promises to get better with time. I'm going to request people standing in the aisles to settle down quickly. It gives me extreme pleasure to moderate this panel discussion. For the Pune scenario, it's not new that I get to do this honor, but I love doing this moderation, so I'm going to call upon my fellow panelists on stage. The panel discussion is titled Changing Paradigms of Architecture, Design as a Catalyst of Change. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. When we were discussing a while ago, we listed about 40 questions that were so pertinent to this topic. One. Two, we also realized that an entire day's seminar could be conducted only on this one title. And first on the stage, I'm going to invite Mr. Mohit HAJELA ji, JAQUAR Group, to be on stage and taking the first seat there. Round of applause for all our panelists. They'll introduce themselves in a bit. Second on stage is the II Chairperson, Pune Center, Architect VIKAS ACHALKAR. Requesting him on stage. A round of applause for Architect VIKAS ACHALKAR. Third on stage, we've done a couple of panel discussions together and curated this evening as well. Inviting on stage POONAM MEHTA from AMPM Designs to be on stage. POONAM. All right. Probably networking outside. She'll be here. Next on stage, I've been recently following a lot of work done by her, and I'm floored to the sheer scale and the entire spectrum of work she handles. Architect MANSI KATARIA, requesting you on stage. She's from Delhi. Round of applause for MANSI. And somebody who absolutely, floored me with his single question to the first presenters today, was about extending the walls. Poonam, can we have you on stage, please? Yeah. At the center of the stage, and that too. Please. Inviting from AKDA, Architect Amit KHANNA, to be on stage as our fifth panelist. Here, next to me, to share some knowledge to me. All right, so before we get into this panel discussion, each one of you has a mic, so I'm glad. I would request all of you to introduce yourselves, because me reading out long 7-page biodata won't make sense and you will get bored. So I'm going to request each of the panelists to introduce themselves by telling us about the highlights of your professional journey so far, maybe a minute each. But tell us about what makes you you, so that the audience knows what they are looking up to. So we'll start with Mohit HAJELA ji.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I think I started the inaugural address, so I don't have to. It's wonderful being in Pune, and almost closing to 3 decades of experience, having worked across an array of multinationals and luxury brands, and now part of the JAQUAR Group, heading business development globally for the group for more than 7 years now.
And handling it quite well, I must say. Vikas, sir.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I'm architect VIKAS ACHALKAR, A&T Consultants. I'm the principal architect. Practicing basically architecture, lots of it, since last almost 34 years.
Lovely. And I've seen the tapestry of the work. It's brilliant. Over to Poonam.
Hi, I'm POONAM MEHTA. I'm the second half of AMPM Designs, and it's been about 11 years since I'm in Pune. I'm originally from Chennai, and I was sort of educated to become a psychologist and sort of got diverted into interior design, and I'm glad I chose this path. I've got some really good gurus when I was working in this journey. In Bombay, I worked with Alati and Pantaki and DSP Design. I think sort of really helped me make sure that I actually chose this path and it was the right path. And here I am today. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you, Poonam. Good to have you here. We next have Mansi, who has done her bachelor's from Pune. So we have a good Pune connection. Over to you, Mansi.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. It's always lovely to be back. I'm totally honored to be here, and I owe this journey, the starting point, to Pune and all my gurus here. It's been a long journey. I have been mostly based out of Delhi, and my husband and me, we have a busy architectural practice where we are doing mostly large-scale group housing, commercial townships. Given that our background is of urban design, so that helps, but it is purely a lot to do with architecture and the allied fields. Besides that, if I may add, it's been about 18 years associated with SPA in the master's department, and that is so close to my heart. So that is another chapter of my journey. Thank you.
I have a question for you on that, don't worry. Thank you, Mansi. And our fifth panelist for this evening, Architect Amit Khanna from Delhi again, please.
Good evening. I'm an architect, but I spend most of my time nurturing new talent both in my office and in the school. I teach in multiple schools, and I find that the best is yet to come as far as architecture is concerned in India, because what I've seen in the last 20 years, it has only gotten better, and I'm very hopeful for the future.
Lovely. That's a very hopeful start, and I like that because the paradigms are changing, and I'm going to ask all of you a common question, which I would request you to address as per your expertise. We see the times are changing fast, and I'm sure all of us here, when we saw the product presentations, we realized there was so much to offer from each of these sponsors here, each of these vendors here. And I realized that be it interior design or architectural design, that there is a lot of change. What do you think is driving this change currently? What, according to you, is, you said things are changing fast in the last 20 years. What is it that is changing? What is driving that change?
So, for those of you who paid attention to what Mohit said in his inaugural address, I'll summarize it for you. We're going to build 1 billion square feet every decade for the next 3 decades, right? You have to make those buildings because people are coming to cities, and those buildings are going to be made either with competence or without competence. Your chance is to build it with competence, and you should treat people here as partners. If somebody says to you that you are not going to be able to fully understand every possible component of a building, you have to take it as not as criticism as an architect, but as an understanding that, okay, that's the nature of the game now. You can't, as one person, hold all that information in your head. You have to have partners you can trust so that you can pass off that information to them and they can come in with that expertise.
Right, I think very well said. I think it summarizes that what Mohit was trying to say at the start, and he gave me a look. Boss, ye main bolne wala tha, par abhi isne summarize kar diya. I think collaboration is the next thing forward, and I'm sure Mansi will agree. What's your take? What is driving this change in architecture and interiors?
I think it's a lot of awareness at one level, because architecture was a very exclusive field at a certain point of time. But now we have clients who come to us and tell us, you know, just make something which others will come and see. So now that definition is very tricky. You know, so we were talking about in those projects we saw the wow factor, we saw luxury, we saw sustainability, so many things. And the paradigms are shifting, but I think it's a very thin line. And the aspiration versus development, because technology, like we see K-Nest and, you know, awesome, so there's a lot of AI and all of that happening. We have to accept all this with open arms and move forward in the betterment of the field, I would say. So I think awareness is a very big thing.
Awareness is driving it, yeah.
Along
right.
with collaboration, because I think it's one and the same thing. Yeah.
Right, hand in hand. Poonam, you showed us a project, your office showed us a project that works with a Bollywood star as well. I see a lot of change in the language of interiors as well as changed.
Right.
What could you say about this? What is driving this change of interiors as well?
I think to me, while we're just talking about maybe the project also, I would say innovation is like the key of at a blink of an eye, everybody is innovating something, and it is amazing the sort of innovation that's happening, be it technology, be it products, be it material. So one has to accept that, and this is driving the change. I mean, apart from the two key words that they said, I felt that innovation
technology.
definitely...
I'm noting these so that I know what to summarize. So collaboration is one thing, of course, and innovation is another as well.
Yes.
Vikas sir, we've been discussing on various forums about the millions of square feet of housing that is being done, and you told me he once complained to me saying, I need a client relationship manager because I hardly get time to talk to my clients at all, because we are so busy producing work and monitoring that work that we hardly get time to go to the clients and talk to them. What is it that is driving this change? Why are we so all occupied? There's so much work everywhere.
See, I've been practicing since the 90s. So 90s was the age where people used to buy a house or build a house for shelter. So it was just a shelter for them, a house. But now in the 2024, I think they want to buy a house to make a statement. So now they want lifestyle and don't want to wait for it. They don't want to wait for tomorrow. They want it today. So this is where I think what she said, KNest and everybody comes in. So the construction time and my dream house has to be today or tomorrow. Yesterday, yesterday. And I am ready to spend for it. So post-COVID, I think people's mindset have changed. They want to live their life. And I think that is driving the change, at least in India.
So it's this change in perception about luxury, opulence, comfort?
No, I think luxury is everywhere. Even an average size flat, he also wants luxury at his level. And the flats that we saw probably now, they want luxury at their level. So I think we are evolving.
Right, absolutely we are evolving.
I just want to add, since we had that discussion about luxury earlier today, what is luxury? I think luxury is just aspiration to kind of build a better lifestyle for tomorrow, for your tomorrow. So that is pretty much it is. And it could be at any level.
So that's an aspiration. Luxury is aspiration. Lovely. Mohit, Jaguar has been doing wonderfully well and it's keeping up to the change. What is driving the change with Jaguar?
I think it's continuous innovation. I mean, we talked about what's the plan for 7 plan outlay. We talk about 25 million homes yet to be done. It's about right from the ambit of India going for a Pradhan Mantri Vikas Yojana to seeing something like an Ambani wedding. I think India gets to, India is a nation that exists in layers. And most importantly, I think it's about how the society has moved from collectivism to individualism.
Right.
So echoing what Vikas just said, I think it's about the lifestyle changes. Indians are far more globally traveled. The aspiration levels have gone high. The consumption patterns are very, very different. But the biggest of all is that Indians now have a sense of conviction that we want to arrive. Lifestyle living is taking a different connotation altogether. But one of the most welcome changes that we are seeing now is conscious design luxury that is coming in. So post-COVID, I think the trends are also evolving. So for us as a group, I think we have always believed in not only understanding and appreciating the explicit need of the customer, I would say it is understanding the latent needs of the customer. And then the entire core ideation goes around how we can innovate and deliver best and deliver brand promise at every interface.
Right. I have a leading question on that. It suddenly struck me. Because you said, because at the core value we are trying to innovate at every level, we see a lot of modularity has come into architecture. We are looking at mass production, fast construction. We want to reach higher with KNest. We want to do so many things at a very faster pace. Do you think Jaguar is also trying to match that modularity, trying to give mass solutions through any of the innovative products that they're trying to do?
See, we do both customization as well as, but then again, believe me, I mean, what you so rightly said, I think going by modularity, eventually time is the name of the game. So to beat timelines, as much as standardization that can happen, that makes life much more easier. And when we talk of, I mean, typically coming from Delhi, you see a situation that sometimes we are gasping for breath. Come October, and October till March, Delhi is in a tough spot. Now, Amit, you will reckon with me. I mean, there are times wherein when we talked about retrofit steam generating solutions as part of wellness. I mean, not always everybody has made a provision for wellness in their bathrooms.
Right.
But today you need those solutions. I'm talking about shower enclosures. How often people are really able to segregate the dry and wet areas? It's not a lifestyle statement. I think it's more a necessity. How you are able to segregate the, you know.
Do you see a stark change in approach for this necessity?
See, it will, because eventually, I mean, we talk about India predominantly emerging as a nation that talked about core and shell development. But in last 30 years, believe me, there has been a slow burn transition. But this transition has come into a fully fitted out development. And the way we look at Middle East, the way we look at Europe, I think it talks more about branded residences. So I think the consumption patterns are evolving. People are becoming far more discerning.
Right.
And solutions which can fit. See, time essentially, I mean, you understand timelines into construction better than me. For us, it's more about how we are able to, offer the best solution.
Leading question on that for Vikas sir. When we say design is a catalyst of change, when he's saying time is money, do you think is design influencing entire economic change across the country?
See, now first I'll make him feel a little better. Since the 90s also, I think they are market leaders even today. So always in the bill of quantities, we will write Jaguar or equivalent. So it's always Jaguar or equivalent. So they are at the affordable level, they are at the average level, they are at the luxury level, and they are at the ultra luxury level also. And I think they do a phenomenal good job of after servicing, and I think that is what really,
which is very important in the times.
Yeah, that is what really matters for the customers, the end users. And with RERA coming in, I think this really matters. And to answer your question, can I have that question again?
I was saying, because design is a catalyst of change, do you think design is changing economics of the entire game currently?
Yeah, of course. See, what happens is now people want a flamboyant design. See, they want, of course, function has to be there. That's the basic. You cannot do anything, the function has to be there. But the elevation also becomes an important part now. So I want to live in a building or an apartment or a condominium where I have to flaunt to others. May it be my clubhouse, may it be my swimming pool, may it be my common areas, may it be entrance lobbies. So now designs are really taking over everything. So one thing I'm not going to compromise upon is the design now. So function has to be there.
Right, of course, but it is going to make a huge difference on the economics of things.
Of course. People are ready to pay more for that. Yeah. So if it is logical, if your designs are speaking logic, then I'm ready to shell out more.
Shell out more, right. I remember discussing this on another platform that if there was a cold shell offered and Poonam was debating about if you had to make it warm, you would want it warm the way you want it. You want to use it, you want to put in the money to make it ultra luxurious or luxurious as per your own taste. Poonam, how do you think, because you deal with users more than just designing housing for otherwise somebody would, how does user-centered design contribute towards giving effective solutions for clients?
Bespoke is the key word that I use in the practice that we do, because we feel that somehow drives me to even sort of pick a material or kind of play with a unique design, which may call every project that we design looks different because the person residing in it has a personality and that needs to reflect. And I think that has become such an important part in for somebody who's looking to buy maybe an apartment and he wants to go and see all the amenities, and if it fits his bill in terms of, is there a massive gym because I'm into health, is there something? So there is a huge human-centric design concern over here, and I think it's great because that builds a platform for a builder to give the amenities and to kind of attract that kind of people. At the same time, we as designers are trying to just cater to the same.
Right. All this while we've been discussing about satisfying the financial quotient of design, and then suddenly in the last few years we're looking at the EQ more than the FQ. We're looking at the emotional quotient.
Emotional quotient,
right,
exactly.
Excellent. Mansi, you've been teaching, of course, but you've been dealing with projects right from townships to a small bungalow as well. If you look at the urban scale, do you think urbanism is driving the sort of visual character of cities right now? Is urbanism taking over modern architecture?
So Mahesh, like I was indicating to you, I think we'll need a whole seminar for this. It's really a broad subject. And it's worthy of discussion, actually. So I would really encourage these discussions to go outside of the room, because this is what we as architects, designers, fellow fraternity do. And nothing goes out of the room, unfortunately, as far as urban development is concerned. So my take on this, and this is something that's come in from my years of teaching, site planning. We have this attitude of teaching that development is, of course, necessary. Just the way you said, Amit, that either you take it, you do a conscientious, well-done design, or you go the other way. But I also feel that as torchbearers of the design fraternity, we must try and engage the youth and the students and the people, of course, for whom we are building, to try and make them understand that it is not always the parameter. Development is not the parameter. It is the vulnerability of the site. So when we start talking about cities, I feel that design is formalized, at least in the cities. Design is a formal subject which people can associate with in the cities. There is a manner or methodology where it is taken forward. Sometimes we wonder if that is an error, because in green zones or even rural areas, there is more sustainability than we have in the cities. So it's a paradox there. As far as urban development is concerned, as a practice, we started with a few projects I was mentioning to you.
Right.
We started in the city of Chandigarh, which had like a huge bearing on our head, because, as architects, we always study that as a case study. And it started with one-odd projects, but now we realize that because there were many open spaces, or rather vacant lands in the periphery of cities, the the landscape of the city is totally changed by these recent developments. So it makes us realize as to how responsible we are in changing the entire, scene of how the city grows, and then we are looking at all these issues.
Is this spectacle that we need to put on to understand how things are changing and growing?
So again, I'll just summarize it for you. Like I said, I don't know how to capsule it, but I think it's very important to look at collaboration, and because the city is not just made with just one designer, it has to be multi-faceted. And we speak of all these social layers and cultural layers, we do all of that. But sustainability should be in the true sense through design. I feel design has the power to change a lot of things of how we shape our cities.
Right.
So, I mean, that's...
Design has the power to change shape our cities.
It's a very imperative and a very crucial thing which we are missing.
Right.
Sometimes,
yeah. I think, thank you, Mansi, on that. Amit, we spoke a while ago, and I want you to take up that. We say design is driving technological innovation as well. We're looking at design changing. She mentioned innovation as the base of the catalyst of change. If a project comes to your office and it has to go through a certain approach, because I saw the work that has been published by your office, I realized that there is a method in which you operate. Do you think design is also driving the technology vis-a-vis the technology is driving design?
So I'm going to answer that in a politically incorrect way. I think the client is driving an innovation. I'll tell you why. 20 years ago, when a client used to come to us, he used to say कि ये मेरा budget है, अब मेरे को building चाहिए. Nowadays, clients come to say अब मेरे को building चाहिए, क्या budget होना चाहिए? Because they want a state-of-the-art, modern, globally responsible, globally recognized building. It's not a question of, oh, how cheaply can we make this? It's a question of, okay, we need to do this to the global standard. It needs to have sensors, it needs to have BIM, it needs to have all of that stuff going on. Okay, how much is it going to cost? It's on us to deliver that answer through technological means, right? If we revert to our mean, if I go back and say, yaar, मेरे को 20 साल पहले जो पढ़ाया था, मुझे तो यही आता है, right? I know how to do only this level of building. And he'll say, yaar, this is not the right guy for the job. Because I want something which is at a much higher quality now. So I think the client drives innovation far more than the practice.
Which I agree. That's true. Could you on that also tell us about the app that your office uses to drive this?
So we, how should I say this? I'm not a micromanager, but I like to know what's going on. So we have, for our own office, I was showing it to him, we have an app where we have all tasks, you know, which we can sort out by architect in charge, we can sort them out by task at hand, at project. We can even sort of we can organize them by which subcontractor is doing what on which job. And so that is just me wanting awareness on what is going on. But how do you run an office if you don't have visibility on what's happening?
Right, that's true. And it's very important to understand how tools could be best used. And on that, I wanted to understand from Mohit, how does design impact this effectiveness of marketing and communicating strategies that Jaguar come up with? Because what happens is you launch a product and then you have to do a lot of groundwork before that. And then after a while you realize that the market needs something new. So basically design is still governing the marketing strategies as well as the effectiveness of communication as well. So how's Jaguar dealing with this from the design point of view?
I think we aim holistically to achieve timelessness in design. And the entire world is eventually getting skewed towards it. We launched Laguna being designed by Matthew and Antonio Rodriguez from Italy. And the core theme was complexity of simplicity. Believe me, designing complex things in the most complex way is more easy. But to design simple things is most complex. So simple, intuitive designs, designing it is most complex. And any designer worth their salt, we have got some great luminaries sitting here, this side also. Any designer, I mean, be it from the build form or be it somebody who comes from the product side like us, they all aim for timelessness in design. So I think one of the very strong parameters of complexity of simplicity was sustainability. But believe me, when we spoke to Matthew, he said that we don't look at sustainability from its conventional understanding. Sustainability needs to be approached from the prism of aesthetic longevity. So when you talk of aesthetic longevity, echoing exactly what Vikas said, that functionality is given. Now it's time to experiment with form. And you are able to design something which continues to stay timeless. Right. I can share with you, Mahesh, we designed Queen series. Parul Zaveri and Nimish Patel, they designed Oberoi Uday Villas.
Right.
And they used, in 2000, that project was commissioned. I'm happy to share with the entire audience today that it is the 24th year running. And believe me, honor designers, not even a single faucet has been changed.
Lovely.
No, it's not easy. You know, you are talking about 24 years of functionality. You are talking 24 years of aesthetic appeal. You're talking about a country wherein hardness of water changes every 25 to 30 kilometers. The regional dynamics are such that everybody has, within region, the design sensibility and appreciation is altogether different. Less set of what I talk about, 80 to 100 ppm being acceptable, and Noida and Agra having 1800 or 2000 ppm.
Right.
So I think it needs to be, the entire communication has to be designed which is more relevant.
Because the innovation point was taken, as I understand it, it's not just about innovating at a very fast pace, it is about sensitively innovating as well, which is what you're trying to stress, because you have to create products that match the requirement. You can't just simply make good-looking products. They have to evolve as per the requirement as well.
Absolutely, and changing lifestyles. You see, it's like one segment which is continuously evolving. We're talking about convergence technologies today. So, I mean, if you're talking about convergence, I mean, one of the best examples, since you talked about a marketing campaign, we did JAQUAR Light Lag Rahi Hai. You'll be happy to know that that complete, that ad won us the Abbeys. We were also one of the Cannes shortlist.
Right.
We also got the Lions Award. So that's the power of how you build a narrative.
Right, that's important, narrative. I think on that, I had a discussion with Vikas sir. He's doing millions of square feet of urban dense environment projects. And he was telling me he removed a X brand from a project and added Jaguar for all of this uniqueness as well. I want to understand how can architects address this change of demanding urban environments, this continuous need to create and give products that people would buy. How does one adjust to it?
See, I think real estate has also become a product now. So it's like a mobile phone. So like how Apple comes out with a new edition every 2 years or 1 year. So I think real estate will also be outdated every 5 or 6 years, and you want to shift into a new premises with new amenities, new modernization. You can say what gimmicks she does every time in innovation. So I think her flat will be outdated every 3 years now. So now I want a new house every 5 years, like I want a new mobile phone. So I think it's going to be a commodity now, and all the developers are going to be estate managers. So we are just going to shift. So somebody is going to buy a second hand, somebody is going to buy a new phone. So it's the same. It's the same thing that is going to come on.
Same thing we do with our iPhones, right? Yeah, I understand. Poonam, on that note, I understand that what he's saying makes sense when so many new materials, such varied palettes are available. What do you think? Are new materials also driving this change of design? Because there's so much of availability. We saw a couple of projects today which had
there is
huge
so
palette.
much of availability of materials, of content, of internet, of clients' knowledge, and it's just endless. My struggle on the other side is a client wanting everything in their house. And I'm doing some projects where there are no budgets and they want everything. So here I'm struggling trying to tell them, let's have a house that is going to be something that you will love after 5 years also. Unlike something that we are saying that it's just like every 3 years, they also come to us and tell us 5 years I will want to move my furniture around, I might buy something new. So you just design something that's trendy. I think trend concepts, I think we were also discussing that what is the concept of this house? There is no concept of the house. The house is a house for you. And we really need to also, it's a struggle because we're really trying, like I would agree with Amit, it's the client that's driving and wanting it all, but what do you want to, you set the lifestyle and you set the change. Right. You can't just give to an extent, you need to be mindful of what you're doing in terms of...
Being mindful is very, very important. I think that's an important takeaway on that. We'll quickly take one more question for Mansi. Mansi, because you've been into education, also Amit has been, do you think design education also needs reform right now?
Of course, of course. That's again a very sensitive territory. But Amit, would you like to throw some light on
That's why I wanted both of you to comment on this.
We need to throw everything out. We need to start over.
Start over.
Yeah,
So
because
we have few educationalists in the crowd, so I think both of you telling this and nailing it on
No,
the
so I will, on a serious note, I think the levels of understanding and the channels of knowledge sharing have totally changed. So it is, I think, beyond us also, because we are probably in the last generation. But I just feel that there is a lot of lack of motivation. And as mentors, we can, the only thing that we can really survive through is to constantly motivate people. And way back in college, this is years ago, my thesis was actually on, sorry to bring this in, but I think it's relevant. So it was about how children from school can be taken regularly to amidst nature. Now that may be a very fancy thought in those days, but in Delhi, from the place where I'm coming, we cannot go anywhere in proximity to nature. Unlike Pune, we need at least 6-7 hours to hit the hills or XYZ. So, you know, our kids are actually growing up in a very urban environment. So when they grow up and whatever profession they, so we like we said, we spoke of cities and they're all going to be city dwellers. I think that sensitivity, when we talk of sustainability, architecture, buildings, growing up in convivial environments, public and social spaces, because that's also taken a total turn. I think all these things become very relevant in the education domain. I think it's very, very important to just keep pushing them. Connection with nature is always my mantra. In some cities we can't have it, but you need to keep coming back, and only then will building, the built and unbuilt, will sort of seamlessly join in.
I agree, I agree.
Can I add
Please,
to
please,
that?
I want you to.
I think, again, I'm going to say something unpopular, but I think we have about 500 design schools in India. Every one of them is teaching every student to be an employer, right? Everybody is teaching them to be the head of the design community. Everybody is teaching them कि तुम master architect हो. Nobody is training employees, right? What we want from a fresh graduate is the ability to draw, the ability to breathe in and out, and the ability to detail, right? We don't want somebody who can design an airport, you know, sitting and doing toilets. It's a poor application of a 25-year-old's brain to train them to build these large buildings. I look at thesis projects, 40 acres, 80 acres. What are you doing? You should be training these children how to be entry-level architects, and then they can become employers.
I think you have hit the nail, and Mahesh is laughing there because all his thesis students are doing airports and museums and port and everything.
He was there at a thesis jury and he was saying the same thing, echoing literally the same thoughts, saying, why are we not making them skill ready rather than trying to make them all entrepreneurs and trying to make them bosses?
They will become entrepreneurs if they have to.
All right. So time's up. This screen shows red. I'm going to quickly wind this up and you all can add a word or two if I've missed out. But because the time is running out, this was originally planned for an hour, but we want to cut it short. We can take all the discussions off the stage later on over some wonderful drinks. Cut that from the recording. All right. Collaborate, innovate, aspire, create a lifestyle statement, have a timeline of use, standardization, and a very important aspect of creating bespoke architecture is to adapt to the change, right? So I think all of this has been the gist of what we've been talking about, but most importantly is changing this outlook towards that change and not looking at it as a part to fear, but to embrace it in a manner that we create good architecture, good interiors, good products in the next 20 years to come. Thank you everyone. Round of applause for all the panelists, please. They have been wonderful. They have been very mindful of the time as well. So thank you everyone.